Hey everybody, welcome back to Exploring Temecula. Today we're going to compare Temecula versus Murrieta versus Menifee. I'm getting a lot of calls on all three of these cities, and I personally think that it's one of the best areas in all of Southern California to live. So let's go in depth and talk about safety. Let's talk about the schools. Let's talk about affordability. Let's talk about housing prices. In this video, we're going to go through everything so you have a good base knowledge on all three of these cities and maybe what city might be the best pick or choice for you moving forward in the future. As always, we have a home search in the description. In this one, I'm specifically going to have Menifee, Murrieta, and Temecula home searches. We also have a home value link in the description. So if you are in the area and you need a home value, I'm a broker. My wife's an actual licensed appraiser, so we can do that for you. And make sure you subscribe. We do 2 or 3 videos every week about Temecula and the surrounding area. This is the channel that will give you everything in regards to updating you on the housing market, restaurants, wineries, things to do. So we try and cover everything on the channel. Hopefully you enjoy the video, and let's get into it. Okay guys, so before we get into the video, I just wanted to give some statistics for people throughout America on these 3 cities and compare it to Riverside, which is probably the most popular or well-known city in the Inland Empire. Menifee, Temecula, and Murrieta have a landmass of around 130 square miles, population of around 300,000 people. Riverside, which is just north, has a landmass of around 80,000 square miles, and the population of around 350,000 people. So as you can see, you know, the population, when you compare these 3 cities compared to many other areas of Southern California, really isn't that bad. And keep in mind, the farther west you go, generally the population is going to become more dense and more dense. One of the reasons I love Temecula, and you know, even though I had some great times at the beach, I prefer it here because when I was at the beach, everybody's on top of each other, you know, and it just got old for me personally. So, you know, although many people might think that the population density is very high in these 3 cities compared to many other areas of the United States, it really isn't that bad. And then when you factor in all of the things that are available to you as a resident, you know, it's pretty awesome to live here. So that leads me into my first topic, which is traffic. Of course, I go over this all the time for people coming into Southern California or the Temecula area. You know, yes, traffic can be bad at times of the day. In Temecula specifically, going north on the 15 freeway at night, you're going to add 30 to 40 minutes to your drive. It gets really crazy. In Menifee, you are going to notice that the Newport exit is an absolute nightmare, you know, especially again during high rush hour times and even at lunchtime. So those, I would say, are the 2 major areas in these 3 cities where traffic gets really bad. And then you'll also notice where it seems to bottleneck, and you can look at it on a map where the 15 and the 215 freeway split, especially at night, everybody going north, that's where the traffic gets bad. But overall, if you are not having to travel during those times, which of course many people do, but you know, I find if I schedule appointments around those times, traffic generally is not that bad for me. Okay, so next I wanted to talk about home prices, and for this I'm actually going to go into the MLS like I do every month for my home market updates, and I'm just going to compare Menifee, Murrieta, and Temecula and show you exactly what has gone on in the past 5 years in all 3 cities, and you know, give you trends of what I expect and what is going to go on in these 3 cities in the future. So here you go. Okay, everybody, for the housing portion of Temecula, Murrieta, and Menifee, I wanted to show some data, and this is what I usually do on my monthly market updates as well. So hopefully this paints a really good picture of what has gone on in Temecula, Murrieta, and Menifee over the last 4 or 5 years, and just shows you sort of what you can expect to pay in regards to purchasing a home when purchasing a home in 3 of these cities. So as you can see up here, I just picked Temecula, Murrieta, and Menifee. Over here to the right, we have 5 years going back, and as you can see, we can have Temecula, Murrieta, and Menifee. And generally, Murrieta and Menifee, in regards to percentages going up in the last 5 years, very similar. Temecula is a little higher. Down here are the tabs that I can actually pick from, and we're going to start off with active listings. And there's parts of this that are going to be very similar. Just with the market we're in, you can see in the last 6, 7, 8 months how it's absolutely plummeted, which is a huge part of why home prices have risen. There's just nothing on the market. And then what I find is crazy is when you go on average days on the market, and these are all, you can follow the line, and they're pretty much going along with each other over the last 5 years. But as you can see here, the average days on the market for March 2021 is 5 days, as opposed to in 2016, 54 days, 58, and 60 days. I mean, that's literally 2 months difference, just from 5 years ago. Back in January of 2019, we were still up at 50 days for Murrieta and Menifee and 30 days for Temecula. So these really show trends of what is going on and why prices are rising the way they are. And finally, I wanted just to go over final sales price. Actually, there's 2 more things I wanted to go over that are very interesting. When I talk about all 3 of these cities, there's pros and cons, and obviously I'm going to get into those in this video. But just simply home prices, you can see that Temecula is going to be the most expensive on average, then Murrieta, and then Menifee. But when you go down to or over to price per square foot, Menifee and Murrieta are very, very similar. Why I suspect this is happening is there's just bigger homes in Murrieta, so they're selling for more. There's a lot of homes in Menifee that are 16, 17, 1800 square feet, whereas in Murrieta, you're getting into those 25, 3,000 square feet, 3,500 square feet. So what am I taking away from this? In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, for resale, for schooling, for congestion, yes, you're going to spend more money in Murrieta because the home is generally going to be bigger, but for the price per square foot, which is very similar, personally, I would choose Murrieta over Menifee. Now, of course, there's a lot of other factors in that. Where are you working? How far do you want to drive to work? What your approval letter is for. I'm just saying, if everything was equal out of these 2 cities, I probably would go with Murrieta. And it's nice to see that if you are basically able to go to that higher price point, you do want a bigger home, that the price per square foot in Murrieta and Menifee are very, very similar, as opposed to Temecula. Temecula is just getting off the charts. This was just shocking. I'll show you sales price. So in Temecula, just from February to March, the average home price in Temecula rose $25,000. So, every time I look at this, I just get shocked. It seems every month, the last 6 months. Murrieta went up 5,000 and Menifee went up 20. So, but again, you can generally see the path over the last 5 years. They're rising very similar. It's just, less expensive to purchase a home in Menifee than it is in both Murrieta and Temecula overall. And again, when we talked about So there you have it, guys. Hopefully this is helping you. Obviously, if you're interested in the housing market in this area, subscribe, because I do these every month, and I really think it's important for people to understand the trends. I can sit here and say for the last 5 years, the trend is very similar, for all three of these cities. And I can also, or you as a homeowner or you as a home buyer will also be able to see monthly the trends moving forward, which I think is even more important, because we're getting into that crazy range of homes skyrocketing. And I'm not saying that something catastrophic is going to happen with the housing market. There's a lot of reasons why I don't think so, but it's important in times like these that you understand and see real time what is actually going on with home prices, especially if you are in one of these three cities. Okay, so next topic, future growth. For those of you that follow these videos regularly, I do talk about Temecula's growth, a lot more, just because we cover Temecula. But in Temecula right now, we have a major home development called Summers Bend. I will have a link in the description if you're interested in a new home in the Summers Bend community. Just click on that and you can check out what models are available right now. But what I wanted to get at was what I enjoy or like about Temecula is, okay, so to the west of us, we have Duluth. They're 5-acre parcels. We're never going to have massive growth in way of housing on the west side of the 15 in Temecula. You come over to the east side or cross over the 15 freeway, you have Los Ranchitos, Meadowview. Those are also areas where the lot sizes are going to be anywhere from ½ acre all the way up to 3, 4, 5 acres. So one of the great things about Temecula is, yes, there's 100,000 people, but it's not like a builder is going to be coming in and just putting homes upon homes, just because the zoning in many areas of Temecula is just not going to allow that. And then once you get past a lot of the tract home areas, then you get into wine country. Home builders are not going to be able to build, stack homes in the wine country either. And then after wine country, you're getting into the realm of, do you really want as a builder to build way out there? How many people are going to want to drive 30, 40 minutes just to get to the 15 freeway? I don't know. Things could change in the future. But as of right now, I just don't see Temecula in way of the housing boom in building tons of new developments happening. Where I do see the most of this going on as of right now is Menifee. And yes, they are building, you'll see it. It's like the first 20 years of Menifee grew very fast. They started at the 15 freeway, and on both sides of Murrieta, they're going out, out, out. There's probably 5 or 6 communities, maybe more, being built right now in Menifee. They are very nice, in my opinion. A lot of amenities, pools, parks, everything that you need, but they are getting farther from the 15 freeway. And if you are working, being in your car gets old quick in Southern California. So I just want to, put that out there and make people aware that if you find this community that is far from the freeway or far from your work, and you have to spend an extra half an hour, 40 minutes in your car every day because of that, you might figure out really fast that that's not something you want to do. So, in regards to Murrieta, there is more building in Murrieta going on right now, Spencer's Crossing. And again, I'm going to have links in the description for you for all the new home developments in all three cities. But moving forward, I do think that Murrieta is going to have a little more growth than Temecula, but less than Murrieta. So that's my opinion on, population and home development in all three of those cities. Okay, next up, amenities in these three cities. Really, it just depends on what you enjoy. Obviously, if you hate wine, Temecula might not be, something that really interests you. And why pay an extra 20%, in regards to a home price if you don't even really want to use the amenities or what's available in the city. So just going into Temecula, yes, you have, the casino, you have Old Town, you have the wineries, you have the mall. There is a lot to do, lots of restaurants, and obviously the weather allows you to be outside doing this stuff all the time. Tons of farmers markets. When you move up to Murrieta, Murrieta actually does have an Old Town as well. It's just less, maybe less known. It's definitely not as busy as Old Town Temecula. So you can have that happy medium, nice restaurants in Murrieta, but you're not crowded with people, especially on weekends. To just go out and have something to eat. Murrieta also has a horse area called La Cresta, which is very beautiful, west of the 15 freeway, and probably one of the nicest private golf courses in all of Southern California, called Bear Creek. Great community, and if you are a golfer and you want to live the golf lifestyle, this is definitely a course that you should check out. And I will also put the video and blog post that I wrote about Bear Creek in the description for you. So those two cities, have some similarities. In Menifee, if you're at the point of your life where you're working, you're busy, and you just need a grocery store and a few restaurants to go out to, the odd time, this is a great spot. I mean, to spend the amount of money on a home when you compare it to Murrieta or Temecula, it's just a lot less that you're going to spend. And if the amenities aren't as important, of like going to the wineries on a Sunday or hanging out in Old Town and going for nice dinners, if that's not something that you do, Menifee might be a better choice for you. So next up, convenience. In Southern California, there's a lot of topics that I talk about a lot because I feel that they're important for your quality of life. And convenience is one of those topics. In Temecula, where I find, and why I love Temecula, is it's convenient for many of these surrounding communities. All of these communities have things for you in a short drive, 2 to 3 minutes when it comes to restaurants, grocery stores, shopping, just running out and doing everyday things. Pretty much every single community in Temecula, especially on the east side of the 15 freeway, you have things available for you at your fingertips. Why is convenience and why is this important? Because a lot of people are working, they're commuting to work, and having to get in your car and drive even in 15 minutes to get to a grocery store or something to do is just not something that a lot of people want to do after spending that much time in their car. So one of the things that I love about Temecula is the communities have a lot available around them, but then when you get into the communities, they're very quiet. It's like you don't hear traffic. They're well taken care of, and it truly is the best of both worlds. I would say Murrieta is very similar in the way of the communities are quiet, and you will absolutely love many of the areas of Murrieta when you're at home in your community. I will say that it's probably not as convenient to get places in a lot of areas of Murrieta than it is Temecula. Now, am I exaggerating, or is it really that bad? No, but 5 minutes is 5 minutes, so just be aware, there are some communities in Murrieta, probably more of them, that you will have a little more drive time in regards to getting places or, getting everyday things that you need to live your life. Okay, convenience in regards to Menifee. A lot of what you need is going to be off the Newport exit. You'll have everything that you need there: restaurants, grocery stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, all of that stuff. But as I was mentioning earlier with the home situation, a lot of these homes that are getting built farther and farther out from the freeway, you are going to have drives to get to these places. So just be aware of that. If I was to rank convenience for all three cities, Temecula, then Murrieta, and then Menifee. But, I'm I don't want you to think that because you move to Menifee, it's just like a nightmare to get anywhere. It's really not like that. It's just, when I talk about Temecula, it's just ridiculous how convenient many of these things are to all of the communities. Okay, so next up, cost of living. Generally, the biggest difference of cost of living for all three of these cities is going to be home prices. So not going to spend a huge amount of time on this. Gas and groceries and everything, they're going to be comparable to all three of these cities. Maybe an added expense over what the home prices are, would be you going out and doing things. Of course, going for a drink at the local bar in Menifee is probably going to be a little less expensive than spending a day at the wineries. Going out to eat at a nice restaurant in Old Town Temecula is probably going to be a little more expensive than going to a restaurant in Menifee or many parts of Murrieta. So that's just, my opinion. The biggest expense that you're going to have when it comes to those three cities is the housing prices. You're going to spend, on average, $150,000 more for the same house in Temecula as you're going to have in Menifee. Okay, so next up, safety. Really, all three of these cities are probably some of the best cities in regards to petty theft and violent crime and all of that in all of Southern California. You can look it up yourself, and obviously I advise everybody to do that, but we really have never had problems in Temecula where we live, and I really don't hear about much in regards to issues in Murrieta and Menifee. Could be wrong, but I just don't hear about it. What I would say would be the most prevalent or common thing is cars getting broken into at night, that type of thing, petty theft. But in regards to really being nervous about, walking around at night in any of these three cities, I wouldn't worry too much about it. So that is my opinion, but absolutely do your research before you move to any three of these cities in a certain area. Okay, so next up, retirement. And I think all three of these cities have a huge upside. Of course, you retire, you get the sun all the time, buy a home with a pool. Golfing is, there's 20 golf courses within half an hour of here. So if you are thinking of retiring, any three of these cities would work. It would just depend on what your housing budget is. We also have just above Menifee, and they're almost interconnected, if that's a word. But it's called Sun City, and this is an area, and I've sold many homes here. Smaller homes, 2-bedroom. Right now, you could get a home in Sun City for $250,000, $280,000, and generally everybody in that community, most people in those communities, I think most of them are 55 and older, but so there are retirement communities right close to Menifee. I think there's a couple in Temecula or one in Temecula, but if you're looking for an absolute true retirement community that's well known, that would be Sun City, which is just above Menifee. But again, all three of these cities, it's like sunshine, warm, golfing, lots to do. So you can't go wrong with any of them. Okay, so next up, I'll talk about golfing. A good lead in from the retirement community, but I'm an avid golfer, golf all the courses around here. And I'm actually going to do a video on all the specific golf courses and give you my views on which golf course is the best, all that stuff, prices. But I think that Southern California, or this area of Southern California, is one of the best areas in the United States for golf. Why? You can golf year-round, it's affordable, and there's plenty to choose from. As I mentioned earlier in this video, there are probably 20 to 30 courses within a 40-minute drive of Temecula. So you have a lot to choose from. Rounds are going to cost anywhere from $40 to $50 during the week on average, and on the weekends, that's when you're going to get into, the $50 to $70 range. but on Golf Now or you know, an app like that, you can definitely find stuff during the week for anywhere from $25 to $40, which in my opinion, to play a decent golf course in this climate, in this part of the United States, is very inexpensive. Okay guys, so there you have it. All three cities, very nice cities. You know, price-wise, Menifee is going to be the least, Murrieta, then Temecula. If you want to see homes in these communities, reach out. We know them well. There's a lot of new communities going in, especially in Menifee. So if that is the route that you'd like to go, there are some absolutely beautiful communities in all three of these cities. And so please just reach out. We'd love to set up a home tour for you. And even if you just have general questions about the area, we've lived here for many, many years, so we can answer all of those for you. Thank you very much. Make sure you subscribe. And until next time, exploring Temecula.